You know, when I first got started in modeling, I was very young. I was actually approached in a grocery store by a photographer when I was 13. And at that time, you know, this was over 20 years ago. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have the availability to look people up and see their websites and make sure that they were legitimately who they say that they were going to be. So my mom, of course, was very wary, and it took a little bit of time for us to really do the research and see what really was modeling and how to really get involved with it. So like I said, I was very young. I was only 13 when I signed with my first agency. And it was a very slow process in the beginning. I did a few test shoots with different photographers, not just in my town, but all throughout my area, really, and just kind of had to ask a lot of questions, go through a lot of different scenarios where, is this right? Is this what we're supposed to be doing? Are we on the right track? You know, we didn't quite know and have a real handle on the situation or on the industry probably for many years, only because we didn't have access to things like this course. Like, I wish I had been able to watch something like this when I first got started, because I had no idea what to expect. When I went to my first photo shoot, I had no idea what was going to be happening. I didn't know what was necessary to bring. When I went to my first runway show, I didn't realize that I was supposed to bring my own shoes. I didn't know that I was going to be changing in front of other people. I mean, these are things that when you're first getting into it, you really don't know what to expect. I mean, this industry is so different. It's not like anything else you've ever experienced. When you're in it, it's just even job to job, you just really don't know what your expectations are going to be. Okay, there are several things that I think that new models getting into this industry should be prepared for. One of the main things could be modesty. You don't really realize it, but when you're on set or you're at a fashion show, most likely you're going to be changing in front of other people, whether it's your stylist, whether it's your handler. These are the people that are going to be helping you in and out of your clothes at a fashion show. Not necessarily photographers, but sometimes, yes, the photographer. You might not have a separate area to change in, especially during a fashion show. It's going to be very busy. It's very fast-paced. You're not going to have a separate dressing room to go and change in. Everybody changes right then and there. You're going to have to drop your clothing and put on the next outfit. So you're going to have to be prepared to feel comfortable and confident enough in yourself to be undressed in front of other people. And a lot of models aren't okay with that. And that's okay if you aren't too. Then those are things that you're going to need to consider when you're offered a job. You're going to want to think, well, I don't know, that might put me in a situation that isn't going to make me feel comfortable. In which case, you might want to turn that job down, and that's okay. That's something that you should absolutely discuss with your agency as well. When you're finally signed with your agent, they're going to ask you things like, are you comfortable with nudity? Are you comfortable in swimwear? Are you comfortable changing in front of people? And if you are not, then you absolutely need to speak up. It's so important that you stay true to yourself and that you don't think, well, gosh, maybe they're not going to want to book me for things if they think that I'm not willing and okay to do these things. Don't think that you have to compromise what you feel is important to you in order to make it in this business, because you won't have to do that. Some of my best modeling experiences have been, one, I was booked for a job for Disney, and it just so happened that it was for their resort in Hawaii. So they flew me out to Hawaii for 3 days. I worked for a total of 2 hours shooting on the beach, and the rest of the time I got to enjoy myself at their resort, enjoying the hotel. They flew me out, they paid for my flight, they paid for my food and my drinks, they paid for my beautiful room, so I essentially got to have a free trip to Hawaii for 3 days, and I got paid for it. Another example of a job that I adore is my regular job on television, working on the shopping channels. I get to work with some amazing people. It's always a different experience, even though I'm going essentially to the same place. The times are always different. There's always a different kind of vibe to what it is that we're selling, what it is that we're doing. We're working with different hosts, with different guests. But really, at the end of the day, what makes it there are the people. I work with some amazing people that I otherwise would never have an opportunity to work with. You know, I really hope that this video is going to give you a good foundation to really begin your personal journey into this industry, because it's going to be different for everybody, and I just want you to take these steps. You know, do that research, Google those agencies, take those digitals, have fun finding your best angles and working on your poses. Grab a friend and do your own photo shoots and really think about how you can apply what you've learned here into the real world, into getting signed with an agency, into finding these jobs. Because really what I wanted to ultimately give you with this course is just the right direction for you to start moving in. So this is just your first steps into this amazing industry that I've been so fortunate to be in for so long. And I'm really excited to get to share my insight and my little tips and tricks with you. But really the exciting part is going to be you applying them and seeing how far you can go with them. And I really hope that you take what I say to heart and that you are confident in going forward and following your dream and chasing those dreams, because I did. I haven't done anything else. I've never done anything that I didn't want to do with my life. I always wanted to be a model. I always wanted to be in this industry. And over 20 years later, I'm still in it. I'm still working it. And it's the most amazing feeling to know that you've accomplished what it is that you really wanted to accomplish with your life, with your dreams, with your career. What I look for in an agent is you want to have a rapport. You want to make sure that you look at this person and you feel comfortable with them and that you feel confident in them. Because if you don't feel comfortable around them, or you don't have confidence that they know what they're doing or that they're going to be working for you, then they are not a right fit for you. It goes both ways, because yes, you want them to like you and you want them to sign you, but at the same time, you have to want them. Remember, the agent works for you. You don't work for them. They're not getting paid unless you get paid. So you want to make sure that they're looking out for you, that they have your best interest at heart, and that they're not just out to make a buck or try to sell you on something. You have to feel like your agent is your friend, essentially. They have to be able to be accessible. You have to be able to reach them. If they're not someone that you can reach out to when you have an issue, that you can reach out to and say, hey, I'm here, don't forget about me, because you want to be a bug in their ear. You want to make sure that they're working for you. If you can't do that, then they are not the right fit for you. When I'm looking at photographers that I want to work with, I'm always looking at their book. I want to make sure that their style of photography is something that I'm interested in, something that would add value to my portfolio. And then it's always a good idea to meet with them ahead of time, especially if you're spending money on hiring them to update your photos. Say it's not a test photo shoot, or it's not a trade for pics. Your agency hasn't set this up. It's not a job. You're doing this on your own and you're looking for a photographer. You want to make sure that you actually like this person, that you get along, that when you have a meeting with them, that you're on the same page about what it is that you're looking for. Because you're spending your money this time on for them to give you a good product that you're going to use ultimately to sell yourself to get work. Remember that your photos are your calling card, and you want to make sure that if you're spending money on new photos, that you want the person that you're hiring to do these photos actually is going to be able to deliver what it is that you need. You know, I feel like when it comes to selecting jobs in the beginning, it's hard to be selective when it comes to the jobs that you're offered. I would suggest just making sure that it makes sense to you financially, and that it makes sense to you as to whether or not it's going to just help you get to the next level in your career. Because you might be offered jobs where you're like, I wouldn't want to do that. Why would I want to do this job? But at the end of the day, it's like, well, is it ultimately going to be something I can pull from? Will I be able to use these images in my portfolio? Can I use a sound clip? Can I use a video clip and put it on my reel? Will my agency be able to use this job to my advantage? And of course, being paid, doesn't hurt. So you also want to keep that in mind. If it's a good paying job, then absolutely I would say go for it. Unless, of course, it does things like goes against your morals. We talked about modesty. If it's something that you have an issue with there, then absolutely turn it down. It doesn't really matter, especially, if it's a good paying job and you're not comfortable with it, then you're not comfortable with it. Don't feel like you have to take everything. I would suggest, though, in the beginning, really take the time to think, well, it's not ideal, but maybe ultimately it's something that could be useful to help me get to the next job, and then build from there. Because really, when you're just starting out, that's what you're doing. You're building yourself. You're building your reputation. Your agency is building your portfolio. And you have to remember all these things, because it might not be your dream job that you're getting right off the bat, but it could help you get to that next job, and that next job could be your dream job. So sometimes you're going to be asked to bring your own wardrobe to a shoot. And especially if you're actually paying a photographer to shoot photos for your portfolio, you'll be providing your own wardrobe. A lot of times they'll be specific. You will get a list, or a stylist will reach out to you directly and say, hey, I'm really needing you to bring, an array of jeans. And I need tops, but I need this color, or please stay away from this pattern or this print. So it's always a good idea to have a wide range of things in your personal wardrobe. That being said, maybe not things that you would wear all the time, because you want to make sure that they don't look worn. So for me personally, I do a lot of lifestyle shoots. And I don't necessarily wear clothing like that in my everyday life. But I have certain pieces, certain shirts, certain tops, certain pairs of pants, certain khakis that I wouldn't necessarily wear set aside specifically for these shoots. So I know that they're always in good condition, they're always pressed, they're always steamed. And that way I have a certain amount of wardrobe that I can guarantee that I will have when I'm called to go and do a shoot that requires me to bring my own wardrobe. And a lot of times also you could get paid a little extra if you have to bring your own. So that's always something to keep in mind, that you could make a little money back that way.